Okay, so today we're gonna dive deep into the music of LiftedPro.
LiftedPro.
Yeah, a hip-hop artist from Vancouver Island, BC.
Vancouver Island. Okay.
Yeah, and we've got like a whole bunch of his stuff to look at, like song lyrics all across like his whole career, even some early peeks into his upcoming album, Creature articles, interviews, and kind of like his whole like creative portfolio.
Right.
And I guess like what we really want to try to figure out is like what makes this music tick, right? Like the layers of it.
Yeah.
And especially how all of his like personal experiences, especially with family, like get woven into this music. And then, you know, we're going to try to tie that into how it all fits within this like nostalgic hip hop sound that's got such a strong connection to BC.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. So like right off the bat, one thing that jumps out to me is how long LiftedPro has been a part of the BC hip hop scene, right?
Absolutely.
Like he started his label back in 2004.
Wow.
Initially called Lifted Productions, but then it morphed into LiftedPro.
Okay.
And, you know, the name itself, I think, is really interesting. It kind of suggests this idea of rising up and lifting consciousness. Like there's a deeper meaning there.
For sure. For sure. And he's not just like a newcomer.
Yeah.
Right? He's built up a real reputation over the years through tons of performances.
Yeah.
He's shared the stage with some big names like Langdon Auger,
Oh, yeah.
Charlie Tuna, Hieroglyphics, Pete Rock, and CL Smith. Like, that's a pretty impressive roster.
Definitely not just anybody, right? Like,
No.
and he's even like headlined and sold out his own shows in Victoria, so he's not messing around.
Yeah, he's got a solid base there in the scene.
Absolutely. And it seems like all of that is kind of leading up to this new album, Creature.
Yeah, Creature. What do we know about this?
Yeah, so it sounds like it could be his like most impactful work yet.
Okay.
We're seeing like, from what we know so far, like a really deep dive into like his subconscious,
Interesting.
blending sarcasm with honesty, and like grappling with these big topics like his childhood and the weight of like adult responsibilities.
Well.
Yeah, and it seems like it'll have a wide emotional range, even kind of like reflecting the changing seasons,
Okay.
which, you know, ties into that blend of nostalgic and like contemporary sounds that he's known for.
Yeah, for sure.
So why don't we start looking at some of the like more intense and personal lyrics he has, right? Especially the ones about his family and like the tough times he's been through.
Yeah, let's get into that.
Okay, so like right away in Let Me Live, you can feel the rawness of his story, you know?
Yeah.
He talks really openly about problems he had with relatives around the time his son was born.
Okay.
And like he contrasts that so sharply with like the huge support he got from his wife.
Yeah.
And that one line, basically, they backstabbed me as soon as you were born. All that came with those few was scorn. That just hits you hard.
That is powerful stuff.
It really is.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're right there with him feeling that betrayal.
Yeah, at such a crucial time, too.
Yeah.
You know, like becoming a parent.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's not just a one-off thing either, right? Like if you look at lyrics from Family Chain, abuse and shunning, you get an even deeper sense of him feeling like an outsider.
Okay.
Like that line, it's hard when no relatives regard or love you, yet you can't dwell on it. That really speaks volumes.
Really does. It kind of highlights that struggle of acknowledging the pain,
Yeah,
but also knowing you got to keep moving forward.
exactly. And then he even mentions like a brother who became unhinged and the family chain breaking because of abuse.
Whoa.
It's like these really deep riffs, you know?
Yeah, really heavy stuff.
So given like how personal and intense these lyrics are, what strikes you about him is sharing these struggles through his music.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like he's not just telling these stories, but he's using his music to process them.
Yeah, like working through it.
Yeah, exactly. He's even said that his music is like a therapeutic journal, you know?
Right.
And you can really see that in action, like by putting these feelings and events into his songs. He's maybe finding a way to understand them better
Yeah.
and maybe even finding some release.
Yeah, like it's almost cathartic in a way.
Exactly. And I wonder if that vulnerability makes a stronger connection with listeners who've gone through similar things.
It probably does, right? Like it's relatable.
Definitely.
So let's talk about another big part of his music, that honesty that shines through, you know?
Yeah.
And how it connects to this deep love for classic hip hop and the nostalgia that runs through his work.
Love that.
Like when you hear his sound described as having exceptional West Coast vibes over boom bap beats, it's like you can immediately picture the soundscape.
Yeah, you know exactly what you're getting into.
Exactly. And for anyone who might not know, boom bap beats are like a cornerstone of that classic hip hop era.
Yeah, those hard-hitting drums, the samples, like it's that classic sound.
Exactly. And when you look at the artists he mentions as influences and dream collaborators, it just reinforces that connection to the roots of hip-hop.
Yeah, like who does he shout out?
So he mentions Mocha only.
Oh, wow.
And they actually got to work together, which is awesome. Then there's legends like the Doppelgangers Camp, Low Neck Sing Crooked, Devin the Dude, even Nas.
Wow, he's aiming high.
Yeah, and he also talks about connecting with other BC artists who share his values.
That's great to see that local support, too.
Yeah, and all of that shows a real respect for hip-hop history and artistry, you know?
Yeah, paying homage.
And you can hear that respect for the past in his lyrics, too. Like, there's a line about going from slanging CDs out my trunk to reaching a new worldwide audience.
Oh, God.
It's like this perfect snapshot of how hip-hop culture has changed.
And his journey along with it.
Right, from hustling in the early days to, like, embracing the potential of today's reach.
Yeah, pretty cool how he puts that.
And it's super interesting how he mixes those classic hip-hop elements with influences from other genres.
Yeah, I was curious about that. Tell me more.
Like his track Reaction, the music is actually based on the alt-rock song Green-Eyed Lady.
Whoa, really? That's unexpected.
Yeah, right? Like it shows he's not afraid to experiment and pull from different sonic worlds, which adds another layer to his musical identity.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think that mixing of styles, like, helps him appeal to a wider audience?
I think so, right?
Makes sense.
Like it gives hip-hop purists that familiar sound, but also hints at something different.
Yeah, yeah.
Which could bring in people who like other types of music too.
I can see that happening for sure.
So now let's switch gears a bit and talk about how important his BC roots are to his music.
Okay, yeah, he's based in Victoria, right?
Yeah, and you can feel that local identity woven into his work.
Yeah, for sure.
Like there's this awesome line from Dark Forest. I'm from the bush where the bears are thugs and the blood turns into paintings.
Oh, wow. That's evocative.
Right, it's not just any forest, it's like the Pacific Northwest, you know?
Yeah, a very specific place.
And it shapes his perspective and stories.
Absolutely.
And it's not just in his music either.
Oh, right. What else?
He has this brand Wifey with a Knifey.
Okay.
It's a food truck concept that he wants to run in BC.
A food truck interest.
Yeah, and it's like this other way he's connecting his creativity to this place.
Right, like building this whole world tied to BC.
Yeah, and then he's even planning to film music videos in the Pacific Coast Forest.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
With local wildlife like bears, cougars, and ravens.
Wow, like they're part of the videos?
Yeah, like they're characters in his artistic story.
I love that.
It really highlights his BC identity, you know?
Sure.
And speaking of BC and all this creativity, it brings us to his new album, Creature.
Creature, right?
Which he thinks could be his biggest one yet.
We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, and from what we know so far, it sounds like a really complex and introspective record.
Fill me in.
Okay, so Uno, one of the tracks is supposed to have a fun, upbeat vibe.
Nice.
You know, like a bit of a change from some of the heavier stuff.
Some variety.
And then there's Let Me Live, which he says is this cathartic release
Oh, okay.
that really tugs at the heartstrings, you know?
It makes sense given what we know about his story.
Yeah, and it seems like the whole album goes deep emotionally. Yeah.
Like exploring themes of moral integrity and facing childhood traumas and adult obligations to children.
Wow, those are universal, right? Like, everyone can relate to that on some level.
Yeah, it's the kind of stuff that really hits home for people.
Absolutely.
And what's really cool is that the album is said to capture the sounds of a resilient drive to remain unique in a society of followers,
Oh, I love that.
right? It ties into that whole idea of authenticity,
Yeah, that's so crucial.
which seems so core to his vision.
It makes you wonder, like, how he creates that sound.
Yeah,
You know, what makes it feel so resilient and unique.
exactly.
Can't wait to hear it.
And he's got some awesome plans for the visuals too, like music videos for a bunch of the tracks.
Oh, cool. Tell me more.
So Reaction will be this AI-generated video of a bear in a forest lab.
Okay, that's trippy.
Yeah, right then, All On Me is going to mix forest scenes and graffiti walls with AI and 2D animation.
Oh, wow, that's ambitious.
And Discussions is going to have AI forest rapping with animals.
That's gonna be wild.
Yeah, and even Uno will have AI elements. So he's really going all in on the AI stuff.
It seems like it's cool, though, right? Like, he's finding creative ways to bring these songs to life visually.
Yeah, for sure. And it's smart too, like he's actually using AI-assisted video creation to work within his budget.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a really practical and modern approach to sharing his art.
And his social media strategy is just as innovative.
Okay, tell me about that.
So he's planning to rap verses over trending remix beats on Instagram and TikTok.
Okay.
And then link back to the original song.
Clever.
Yeah, right? Like a great way to grab attention in the digital world.
Absolutely.
And he's using AI for stem separation to make those remixes, which is cool.
So he's really on top of the tech side of things, too.
Yeah, it's impressive.
For sure.
And he's even picked specific lyrics from tracks like Confusion Days, Dark Forest, All on Me, and Reaction to use on social media.
Oh, so he's being really strategic with how he promotes the album.
Yeah, lyrics that really capture what the album is about.
Yeah, that makes sense, building that hype.
And all of that leads us back to these themes of authenticity and resilience.
Yes. Those seem to be like the heart of LiftedPro's artistic identity.
Absolutely. And like when he calls his music free therapy and a therapeutic journal, it just emphasizes that honesty.
Yeah, it feels so raw and real.
And the fact that he walked away from projects with artists who didn't match his moral code.
Wow, even if it meant losing out on money.
Yeah, like he's committed to his values and his art.
That's a powerful statement, for sure.
It really is. And you can see that resilience in his lyrics, too.
Where do you see that?
In Dark Forest, he talks about getting through a traumatic childhood and finding peace in nature. It's like those challenges made him stronger.
Yeah, like he turned that pain into something positive.
And it all connects back to that powerful image of creature.
Right, that central idea.
Yeah, like that line, traumas turn into teeth of the creature, is so vivid.
It really is. What do you think it means?
It's like pain becoming power, right? Confronting your demons and finding strength in that process.
Yeah, I like that.
It's a really cool metaphor for his journey.
It is.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into LiftedPro's world, what are like the biggest takeaways for our listeners?
I think the main thing is that LiftedPro's music is this really personal and honest exploration of some huge themes.
Yeah.
You know, navigating complicated family stuff, finding resilience when things get tough, and that deep connection to BC.
Right.
And he does all of that with this really cool blend of nostalgic hip-hop that feels both familiar and fresh.
Yeah.
And with Creature coming out, it seems like he's about to share a whole new chapter of his story.
So listeners, if you're intrigued by what you've heard today,
Definitely go check him out.
yeah, go check out his music on Spotify or wherever you stream your music.
Yeah, and keep an eye out for that reaction music video too.
It'll give you a taste of his visual style.
It will.
So here's a final thought for everyone to think about.
Okay, I'm listening.
How much do an artist's personal experiences shape their creative expression
Yeah,
and their connection to a place like LiftedPro's bond with BC?
that's a great question.
And what can we learn from him turning pain into art, especially in the BC hip-hop scene?
Right, like what are those creatures inside us that we need to face?
And how do we find our own voices in that process?